want to talk about the Jewish comment, it's actually proving the exact point that I made. So many actors been bullied behind the scenes. So you even got people like Ari Emanuel asking people to not do business with me. That's how this town has been running for so long. They'll mute you. They'll try to mute you at all costs.
What have you got to say to people that are trying to cancel you?
You can't cancel him.
I'm here. What are we
right.
talking about? We here. We ain't going nowhere, baby.
Kanye 2024.
And if I ever, if I ever went anywhere, we know why.
Oh, Kanye, absolutely. Hey, listen, Kanye didn't say anything wrong at all when you think about it. You know, when you go, straight into this interview on Drink Champs, he really didn't say anything wrong. But here's the problem I got a problem with. If you looked at the interview where Kanye West was interviewing, Kanye actually mentioned the N-word 37 times. 37 times Kanye mentioned the N-word. No one had a problem with that at all. No one had a problem with that. Kanye mentioned the N-word 37 times. Over the last past 20 years, Kanye West has actually promoted, he's actually produced, and he's actually came out with records himself that has degraded, the black woman, black families, calling a black woman a B, producing records, calling her H. No one had a problem with that. I don't understand that. No one had a problem with that. He's been doing that for over 20 years, degrading black women and kids, in his music and in his craft. Okay, no one had a problem with that. Kanye been calling a black woman and producing music, calling a black woman a gold digger, calling her H, calling her B. No one has never had a problem with that. So you talk about now, he just says one thing that is absolutely true, and everybody has a problem with that. And I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. Kanye went against the code, the brotherhood code of the Illuminati. He didn't supposed to talk as much as he talking. Okay, so just like Satan giveth, Satan taketh away as well too. So a lot of people don't understand that that's a brotherhood that Kanye was in. And they gave him and they took away everything from him. So he ran his mouth a little bit too much. So now I heard yesterday he went back and he apologized to the media about what he did. So that goes to show you right there, he can't talk too much because everything is controlled. That's what a lot of people have to understand. Everything is controlled, okay, by the so-called Germans, okay, which is called the so-called Jews, because they're not the real Jews anyway. The blacks over here in America are the real Jews, okay, that the Bible speaks of. A lot of people don't understand that as well either.
Questions when I was a kid learning about the traumatic events of my familial history and what I'm proud to come from and why I'm proud to stand here and why when I repeat myself that I'm not going to stand down, it has nothing to do with dismissing any other race or group of people. I'm just proud of my heritage and what we've been through. So, these same questions that you guys ask, me dealing with it as being a melanated, pigmented person all around the world and dealing with racial biases against my skin color, demeaning me because of my religious beliefs, and I'm still sitting in the seat standing. A human being that's 30 years old, and I've been growing up in a country that's told me that I wasn't worth anything, and I came from a slave class, and I come from a people that are meant to be treated the way we get treated every day. So I'm not here to compare anyone's atrocities or tragic events that their families have dealt with generations of time. I'm just here to continue to expose things that our world continues to put in darkness.
If you put it that way, you guys understand the consequences of what you've just done? No.
White people I understand now because they just are who they are. A dog is just a damn dog. You know what I'm saying? So you can't too much get mad at a damn dog and shit. The motherfucker is only being who he is made to be.
You guys are not going to get any scholarships because this is a hate crime.
We all dropped out of high school. They still say little racist shit when you get around them, even though they mean good. But it's their nature. You know what some racist shit. They just say the shit without even thinking. It'd be like, they just say some fucked up shit. You be like, that's some fucked up shit. But they be your best friend and they don't be saying the stuff to hurt you. That's just their nature.
If I still don't think it's appropriate for you guys to be doing this, it's really,
he's the son of a lower entity and that's all he is. And that's
Thank you for tuning in to the Sisters Talk podcast. I'm your host, Danny M. And today we have very special guests, Arthur, Frank, Z, Jordan. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
All praise to the Most High. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, I gave you guys a lot of content on the front end of this show. A lot to absorb, a lot of opinions, a lot of facts. And today we're talking about a very serious topic. And it's been trending, with a few artists, a few celebrities. And I thought it was time to bring it out on the Sisters Talk podcast because this is something that we should have been talking about since day one. This is something that Arthur Jordan is very privy to, and he makes a lot of his books based upon this very thing. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So, without further ado, and I don't have the topic here for some weird reason. That's all right. Because we're going to talk about Kyrie Irving and the fact that he should not apologize. I have many reasons why he should not apologize. Very, very, very many. Like, there's so many that I can't even list it on this one show that we're going to have today. Now, one of the first things I kind of want to address is, like, many people before Kanye West and Kyrie have talked about the same thing repeatedly. You have some of the greats, Farrakhan, you have Malcolm X, you have, I don't know about Martin Luther King, but for sure Malcolm X. He went over to Africa, and you can correct me because Frank Jordan is the real historian on this show today. He went to Africa and he saw a lot of things that he was just blown away by. And he wanted to come back to America to share some of his findings. Some of his findings consist of a lot of different things. And I don't want to give it all away, but I'll just put this picture up here, courtesy of Arthur Frank Jordan. Pictures like this.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Black Madonna and Christ. People on the other side of the world are praising figures that are black, just like
Right.
you and I, Arthur Frank Jordan.
Right.
And the people on this side of the world have no idea about it. Right?
Right.
So I'm going to let you take the seat. Let the expert in hand take the wheel.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Danny. All praise to the Most High. Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me. What's funny is that I was having a discussion with someone earlier this week on the same thing, and this isn't about hate speech, or anything like that. It's just all about a great awakening of a sleeping giant, of a people that's been asleep for so long, and been spoon-fed lies for so long that now all of a sudden they're awakening up. And America and, the world has a problem with that. The things that they've actually, hid from us or tried to hide from us for so long. And I'm not talking about, just, hiding, just the minute things. I'm talking about anything that has anything to do with us coming back to our nationality and who we are, and a great awakening of our people. That's what they've been afraid, and that's the things that Kyrie Irving is saying. This is what they've been afraid of how it would get out on the media, and the masses of the people.
What I find so interesting about this entire topic is that a lot of people who were spreading this message that he was spreading hate had never watched the documentary.
Right.
Didn't even keep in mind that this man simply shared a movie that he thought would be eye-opening and awakening for not just Black people, everyone in this country could take something away from it, right? Because a lot of these isms that we deal with in society is a lack of knowledge or the ignorance that people have on a subject matter. So the more you know, the better the decisions you can make for yourself and the people that are around you that don't look like you.
You're right.
They don't share the same culture.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. Listen, let me say this too, and you just hit on a really good point. Django was a movie about hate. It showed us how much white America hated us during the time of slavery and still hates us today. Roots, was a movie about hate. They still have that in syndication, on many cable networks along with Django. The only time that, it becomes a problem is when everything is reversed, on the people, that are claiming everything that they're not. If you have someone down in the basement for over 400 years and you're feeding them, you're not letting them up out of the basement, you're teaching them everything that you want them to, that you want them to know. Right. You're not, they can't see the sun but only about maybe 30 minutes out of the day. You're down there, you're feeding them, But as soon as they come up out of the basement, you're steady just closing up the hatch. As soon as they come up, you're closing up the hatch. As soon as they come up, but what they start seeing other things, you're closing up the hatch. We're the basement people living here in America, by the way. And white America has been closing the hatch on us for over 400 years. But somebody's unlocking the door. Somebody's finally unlocking that door, and they threw the lock away, and that's what's going on today.
Very interesting and funny analogy, because it's sad. It's the truth, you know? And it's so funny how you see people react to raw truth. We're so used to fluffy information that's not accurate, that's just been passed on from one person to the next. We have to stop that. If it's something that you don't agree with, don't just simply say, I don't agree, and start talking crap about it. Do your research and then come back to me with a proper debate. I don't want to hear you whining and crying and getting emotional over something that you yourself, you didn't do the investigation. You didn't do the research behind it. There's so many people this week alone that I had to address to help them and correct them and help them find their way to research what it was that they were talking about. Because if you're talking to me about what Kyrie said, don't talk to me until you watch the documentary. I watched all 3 hours. There was nothing in that documentary that was anti anything. It was purely educational.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I will say this also, you know, America doesn't have a problem, you know, with the black man making videos, you know, selling illegal narcotics, you know, to in the neighborhood where we live at. They have no problem, you know, with black women swinging on poles, you know, a scanty clad, you know, clothing. You know, they have no problem, you know, with, you know, the minute way that we think in the emasculation of black men. They have no problem with that, you know, but they always have a problem when someone comes out and they spew truth, because now they're being exposed and now they're being uncovered. We're the only people on this planet that, and I said this before, you know, on you know, plenty of times, we're the only people on this planet that apologize for telling the truth. We're the only people that come back and apologize. You know, it's all about slave master versus the slave. That's really what it's all about. You know, you have a slave that actually ran his mouth a little bit too much, and so they're trying to marginalize him, you know, in a way where, you know, he doesn't affect, and not too many of us start thinking like, whoa, wait a minute now, wait, what did Kyrie say? You know, what he says makes sense. Why is it drawing so much attention? The first thing that I want to read is this, and this is real simple. This is a document called Freedom of Speech. Okay, and this is very simple. It's very simple. Freedom of speech, it says, the principle that supports the freedom of an individual, Kyrie Irving, and you too, Danny. It says, or a community to articulate, speak their opinions and ideas without fear. Master, please, no, don't beat me. Okay, without fear or retaliation. Don't hang me, please, don't hang me. Because really, this is all what it really is. You know, you bringing out the bad slave out to the field, you know, to put the other slaves in check just so they won't do it again. You know, because
did you notice, speak to that point, did you notice how some of the other NBA players called him an idiot? You know, Shaq was one of them. LeBron James said, I don't like the way he delivered the message. Well, how else can you deliver the truth, people? Right. That's what I want to know. I want to know, how else are you supposed to deliver the truth? Because I don't want my truth sugar-coated. I don't want it dipped in glaze. I don't want that. I want to know the raw truth. As a matter of fact, I want to know exactly who I am. A lot of people don't realize how much power they have. Nobody's stopping you from getting your DNA checked so that you can trace your own roots. And you can see that some of you never even left this continent.
Right. Absolutely right. And let me say this. This is one of the biggest worldwide kept secrets ever, you know, that the so-called Caucasians that go around calling themselves Jews are not the real Jews. That's the reason why they call themselves Jewish people. You know, it's not really blackish, it's blackish. You know, it's not really green, it's greenish. You know, I'm not really a Jew, I'm Jewish. That's the reason why they put that suffix you know, on a behind the name. One particular date comes to mind, 740 AD is when they converted over from a nationality to a religion, and they called it Judaism. 740 AD. Prior to that, you know, you had black Jews that was living in Rome, you know, and the black Jews stem from the lineage of Christ, Moses, and Abraham. Freedom of speech, it says, without fear or retaliation. Okay, you're not supposed to fear the retaliation from freedom of speech. Adam Silver, we got to have a talk, Kyrie. All right. Censorship or legal sanction. Oh, you got to pay $500, you know, to when I have never known a time in history when you had a Caucasian organization come to the hood and sit in a community center and learn the lingo, how we operate in the hood, because they called us the N-word, just to get that man to excoriate him and get him, they got a whole list of things and a whole thing. Yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's
look
amazing.
at what they did here. Look at this.
Wow.
Right? Nike completely dropped them. Let me move this out of the way for you guys so you to see. Completely dropped him, right? I mean, I'm sure he doesn't care because he's standing on what is right. He's standing on what is true.
Right.
And it's so funny that a lot of people don't understand his truth that even look like you and I because they're not doing their research. They don't even know who they are.
Right.
You guys don't know who you are. I'm talking to you.
Right.
Yeah, you.
Right.
Look at this man. Yeah. A multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Ready to risk it all for the truth.
Right.
And he's not the first and he won't be the last. Kanye West just a week prior did the same thing. And no one respected it. Everyone wanted to call him mentally insane and mentally challenged, but nobody wanted to do the research. The man pulled out his cell phone and showed you guys how many people own all the major corporations here, and everybody in red was a JEW.
Right. So-called. Let me say this to answer Robert's question right there. You can't, and I don't want to get biblical, but this is a biblical conversation, historical biblical conversation. You can't go in the Bible and find where it says be a Baptist or Roman Catholic or a Muslim. You can't go in the Bible and find religion, but what you can do, you can find law, statutes, and commandments. Okay. And so, religion actually, behind each religion, for someone to say, I'm a Protestant or I'm a Seventh-day Adventist or I'm a Jehovah's Witness, you have men that made those religions, formed up out of their own opinion from the Bible. Okay, but when you go back into the Bible, there's law, statutes, commandments, and those law, statutes, commandments were given to the children of Israel. And the only thing to break it down, they're saying he's anti, Semitic, he's anti-Semitic. And Kyrie just came out and just said, well, how the hell can I be, something that I am, who I am. Right.
I can't believe that went past a lot of people's head. I don't understand.
Right.
I even saw somebody put a post that, so y'all just want to be everything. You want to be Indian, you want to be Semite,
Right. And for those who know, and for those who are learned, this is one of the biggest kept secrets in the entire earth. Okay. Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Okay, and it is known, that the lineage of Christ comes through the lineage of Shem. Okay, and it's not anti-Semitic. Okay, it's Shemitic. Okay, they dropped the H. Right. Okay, just to fool people, just like they go around and call themselves and made up a religion in 740 AD called Judaism. You can't go in the Bible and find a religion called Judaism. There's no such thing. Okay, now
we can talk about the cross. It's so many different ways.
Right.
We can attack this situation right now.
Right. Let me show you something real quick, right? Since we talking about that.
And hold on, let me just read this. Macante James, I think I know who this is. And she says the sweatshop people. Now she's talking, I know exactly what she's talking about. She's talking about Nike.
Yeah.
They don't have a problem with making people sweat and labor all day for pennies, but you have a problem with this man sharing the truth and nothing but the truth on Twitter.
Right. The CEO of the Nike company, I think he's worth like over, I think the last time I checked is like $120 billion. The Nike Corporation really took off and rocketed off, after the production of Air Jordans. Mm-hmm. And it is to be, noted, that Michael Jordan did make the Nike company, quite a bit of money. Like
Kanye West made Adidas quite a bit of money.
Absolutely.
Okay? Let's not forget.
Absolutely.
And now it's going from Adidas to Adios.
Right.
Now, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to take that design that he branded, because he did brand it. Everybody bought it because it was related. It was attached to his name. Now they want to resell it. People are not buying that now. They're not buying that. You know why? Because people, for the first time in their lives, are actually waking up saying, if it doesn't matter, then why does it matter? Right. If it's not true, then why are we making such a fuss? If it's not real and it doesn't hold real value, why are you now you're putting the shackles back on people in front of everybody's eyes? I don't even know a better way to say that.
Right, right. If I was a sports athlete, if I was a sports athlete or a R&B entertainer, and if I said I'm a Protestant, they wouldn't have a problem with it. They wouldn't have a problem with it. If I said I'm a Baptist, they wouldn't have a problem with it. But why does the world stand still when you have certain black people that come out and say that the black man is a real Jew, or we're the children of Israel? Right. Why do they have a problem with that? Because it holds validity, and this is a worldwide kept secret. Okay. Let me show you something, right? And this is gonna shock you. All right, this is a book right here called Pictorial History of Jewish People. All right, now if you was to go into the library, you really wouldn't pick it up, because you're looking at it and you're saying Jewish people, and they put that there purposely, you know, just so blacks wouldn't go into the library and look at it. Right. Okay, so but when you go into this book is from the beginning, from the very beginning of this book. Okay, it's nothing but black people in this book. Okay, so I'm gonna read something to you right here. I'm gonna show you something first, a picture. Okay,
we got it
right. I'm gonna show you this right here. Okay, and in that corner right there, in that picture right there, and I mean, you can clearly see that these are black people. Look at the lips.
I can see the hair. The hair is all balled up. You know how our hair gets. Our hair.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And keep in mind, this is a book that said a pictorial history of Jewish people. Now, it says right here, it says ethnic Semitic.
Yep.
It says ethnic Semitic types. Okay. Of course, it gives the date. It says 2826, century BC. Now this is what Kyrie is saying. How can I go against somebody that I am? Now, this is a book right here that says the Jewish history. Now, why are there black people in there? Okay, if this is the Jewish history, because the real Jews are black, the people of Christ, Abraham is black.
And it's insane that people don't naturally know that. And if you don't, you can literally go to Webster's dictionary or any dictionary that you choose, and it will give you the definition. Afro descendants are in the definition of what a Semite is.
Absolutely.
There is no argument on that.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. And it's crazy. Right. And it's crazy because I got about 6 or 7 books over here, that I pulled out, just 6 or 7, that I pulled out to prove, of course, the people of Christ are black. And, also a lot of people got to understand too, just like you have a forest, many trees in the forest, but you have different trees. Oak tree is not a peach tree is not an apple tree. It's just like the world. You have different people that serve a different purpose. And everyone knows that. The people that came over and built up America are the people of Christ. That's why we didn't need no instruction. That's why we didn't need no school. That's why we didn't need anything. We went straight from the slave ship straight to work and taught everybody every damn thing. And they notice.
Yeah. And I guess, they're spoiled. They're so used to us doing everything and not knowing anything and just going along with the hustle and bustle. But here's a thing that I really have a question about, because we are in 2022. We do have access to all of this information at our fingertips. And I bet you 90% of the black people that are arguing, oh, he needs to sit down, he's talking too much. Nobody looked up the definition of what a Semite is. No one took out the time to watch the documentary. And this is the problem that I have with you guys. You cannot place a valid, logical argument with anyone if you have not done your research. If you do not know who you are, you have to know who you are. And just keep in mind, just because you see people of power opposing them that look like you have to understand there's some type of financial interest there. And I'm calling a spade right now. That's exactly what it boils down to. These people that are mad and angry are the gatekeepers of all the financial wealth. So if you get them cranky and you're in connection or partnership with them, you lose the deal. As we saw in real time, 2 people lost 2 contract deals with 2 sneaker shoes. And you guys are going to still go out there and buy those shoes. I guarantee it. You know why? Because you guys don't see the value of the sacrifice that those 2 black men were making, not just for our community, but for everybody in this nation. It's something else when everybody wakes up and understands what's really been going on for all this time.
Right. Hey, listen, I couldn't have said that no better myself. And let me swing at that a little bit. And I always talk about this during the time of the 14 the 14th century, there was a place in history called the Renaissance period. And you had guys like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. And I always make a great point at this because it all just makes logical sense. You had guys like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and Rembrandt, that went around and they took all the dark art and they painted it white, through the commissions of the popes during that time. When you were raised in a cave and you were pushed in the caves, that's the reason why they call themselves, of course, Caucasians, because it stems from the Caucasus Mountains. So that's the reason why they call the electoral vote, a caucus vote, because they didn't never change that because there was no blacks allowed, in the votes, before slavery. So that's why it was called a caucus vote, because only the Caucasians, the caucus people, were allowed to run, for the office. So, when your history is vast and when it's dull, you don't have no history. Of course, you're going to pretend to be everybody great, and that does include the people, the chosen people, the Heavenly Father. That includes Christ himself and Moses. Even the guy that posed to the picture of Christ, his name is Caesar Borgia. This is a real man, that posed to the picture of Christ during the 14th century. You can look that up yourself.
And that picture is hanging up in a lot of y'all's grandparents' houses right now. Your grandma got them on the wall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Thinking it's the real deal.
Right. When the Bible tells you his hair was woolly and his feet was burnt brass.
Wool, people, wool.
Absolutely. Hey, look, I got about 6 more doozies for you right here. We're gonna stay in this book right here. It's called The Pictorial History of the Jewish People. All right, now this particular picture right here, when you look at it very carefully, okay, you see people, okay, you even see their hair, okay, which look like the ladies had braids in their hair.
Oh, they did. And
right.
They wear wigged braids at that.
Right. The ladies had braids in their hair when you look at it very carefully. And guess what the picture says?
What does he say?
Guess what the picture says? It says limestone relief. It says Semitic. There's that word again, Semitic. It says possibly Israelites.
You know what it is, Arthur.
It says captain led into Egypt by Pharaoh. And everybody know that Pharaoh had the children of Israel in slavery. And in this picture right here, you see men with froze, you see the women with the braids, and it says right there, now, if those are the people that were Semitic people, like you said, what did Kyrie say wrong? He's just saying, hey, these are my people. This is my lineage. I know where I come from. And a lot of people don't understand. Like you just said, the only thing you got to do is go to a library and just research.
You could Google search this from your cell phone these days, guys. Like, come on. I just want people to stop being so shallow. Do your research, people.
Right. Now look, I'm gonna read something to you, right? And I'm gonna read something to you. Okay. You can go back and you can look up, look up documents called slave codes. And what slave codes were back during the time of slavery, they actually put out laws that are still in Congress today in a lot of states like Maryland, Virginia, where they marginalized the slaves only to do certain things, like the Jim Crow laws and stuff like that. And in one of the slave laws, it says movement and restrictions. Okay, it says most regions required any slave away from the plantations outside the cities they resided to have a pass signed by their masters. Okay, that's where passport came from. Someone has to sign it. The government has to sign it in order for you to leave the country. That's where that came from. Passport from their masters. As many cities in the slave states required slave tags. A slave tag is nothing more, again, than a passport. Someone can be on house restrictions. They got a monitor on their leg. So it says required slave tags, small copper bandages enslaved people wore to show that they were allowed to move about. So it's like the slave codes. This is where a lot of the police laws and the criminal laws and the codes came from. If someone's on probation or they want to put, marginalize, black people, they put those inside the penal code laws and they put stuff like that. And it's still the slave codes. They never took the stuff out of Congress. And
recently when people voted on Tuesday, there was a few states, I'm gonna say a lot of that still were okay with the slavery that's going on with the prisoners, right? The free labor. They voted for, not against, And I'm just like, this is just ridiculous. And I have to read this comment that Tyler says. He says, it's cool if they talk about we have to shut up and dribble and pay stupid consequences when we say anything about us. I guess he's saying anything about our actual culture. He says now our people are learning the truth. We are, but it is a hard moment right now because you have so many of us that are still divided on opinion, and
Right.
it is just opinion. Nobody's doing their research. We could be divided on perspective, but not just something that you're feeling. And I think that's where people are getting things confused. People are speaking on emotion, out of emotion. They're saying, oh, well, I don't like Kyrie, and he thinks he's smarter than everyone. That has nothing to do with what's factual. You know, that movie, or that documentary, I should say, had a lot of facts, a lot of history, and it was no different than any other documentary, I'm sorry, that you would watch on TV, on the History Channel, or on YouTube. It's the same thing. So why people got in such an uproar lets me know that documentary hit straight on the nail for a lot of people, and it struck a nerve.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what, Dan, you're absolutely correct. And let me say this also. It's a damn shame that you have a lot of our people that are, they have such self-hate about themselves that's been branded in them, that they actually, hate when someone tells them the truth. They've been indoctrinated for so long, to hate their skin, to hate their nose, to hate their people, black woman, hate the black man, black man, hate the black woman, until someone goes against massa, okay, and start telling the truth. It's like, we'll actually hate, the person that's actually, they felt the same way about Christ. They hated Christ because he went around and he told the truth. They hated Malcolm, okay. They didn't, Malcolm didn't die in a hospital. Malcolm was murdered, okay, because he told the truth. Okay, and that's what people do. They kill the people that come out and spill the truth. That's what they do. They murder you and kill you. And it's a damn shame that their self-esteem is so low, that they feel that, the truth can't come from their own people. They've been indoctrinated, and conditioned for so long, that they just feel that, whenever you do have someone that's coming up and speaking the truth against massa, they want to stay on the plantation. No, that can't be true. No, that can't be true. Y'all leave massa alone.
I mean, they've come up with all kinds of things. I've seen it all. I really have within the last few days. And, I'm not surprised, but I do feel like we have more progress to make and we need to catch up because the information literally is there for you to read it, guys. You have to read. It is that simple. Just read. Stop it with the emotional talk and just literally read. I just want to talk a little bit about Kanye West.
Sure.
Woo, Kanye. Now this guy, he has more emotions than, I don't know. I don't even know what to compare him to. He definitely is a hot rocket. I'm not gonna lie about that. I would be lying to say that he's always stable, because he's not always stable. But that is not going to take away from the fact that he was trying to prove something here, and I think it was a point well taken, at least for me. He showed me just last week who's in control.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that trickles only from the top down. This guy was one of the wealthiest black men in the world, and that all changed within 7 days. All because of what? Because he went on Drink Champs and he said, you know what? I want all of the little JEW kids to go tell their parents that I'm angry with them, because their parents know how to read a contract, because their parents are the gatekeepers, because their parents know what they're doing in business. And I have to hire people to tell me, how to read my contracts. I have to hire people to tell me how to move in new industries. Like, he tried to take over fashion, which he really did dominate for a time being. He's exquisite in his music, writing abilities, and production. So the guy really is, no matter how you guys want to talk bad about him, he is a literary genius. But with that being said, he does suffer from multiple emotional and mental illnesses, possibly, allegedly. I don't know. I'm not his doctor, but I'm not here to judge that. I'm just here to pull the truth from what he gives us. And he gave us a lot of truth last week, and it cost him significantly in terms of his finances. And I heard on one of the clips, and I don't think I have it tonight, but he said something. He said, God was trying to tell me something, that I need to humble myself. That's number one. So at least he's doing some self-evaluating. And number two, he said, hey, my message, I'm supposed to give you guys a message, and I'm doing what I feel God told me to do. And I couldn't disagree. I couldn't disagree with that. I really feel like after Kanye, here comes Kyrie, and now here we are today talking about it.
Right.
Millions of people.
Right. One of those personalities was right. One of them, I don't know which one it was, but the one that he was, but the one whoever he was for 2 weeks ago or a month ago, that was the right one right there. Who knows who he's going to be next month? But that one was actually correct. And again, here's where I got a problem at is that no one has a problem, with, the black man, in entertainment. And that's what they call it, when you got a black woman, that's scanny clad, and that shakes her, her tail, on videos, degrade herself. You got black men, doing certain things and portraying themselves as certain, individuals, bad guys on TV. Nobody has a problem with that. And the thing that they say is entertainment. So they just chalk it off as entertainment. But if you let someone else do it, it's a travesty. Oh my goodness, this is an outrage. It's a travesty. But people always want to just chalk it up when it comes to us as it's just entertainment. But actually, words, documentaries, videos, they have a long lasting effect on people's mind. And let me hit you with this, like mood music. If you got someone that's rapping about, selling kilos of coke and, and drugs, and, you have, someone talking about black women and, they're portraying it as a good thing for a black woman, to show her behind in the club and do certain things to get money, that kind of sticks into your brain a little bit, kind of sticks into your brain a little bit. And, you move and you groove into the music and you're looking at it, in video. That kind of sticks to your brain a little bit, and it does have some kind of psychological effect, on our children, on adults as well too.
Absolutely. And it's had a devastating effect on how other cultures view us. That is the reason why we deal with so much hate from other cultures, is because they have been hypnotized to believe that every black woman is out here shaking a butt or showing a butt, or thinking that every black man is a drug dealer. That's the reason why a lot of our black men get profiled on a day-to-day basis, because they are also watching these music videos. They are also watching these black movies that used to be made in the 90s and early 2000s that depicted black men as thugs carrying weapons all the time or ready to rob. And that's just simply not the truth. I mean, there's a proportional number of the same types of or number of individuals in each race that are doing the same thing to each other. We used to for a long time have this stigma or this derogatory statement of black on black crime. There's white on white crime. There's black on black crime. There's Asian on Asian crime. There's Filipino on Filipino crime. I could just keep going on and on. There's Indian on Indian crime. Like, there is a high proportion of crime within each community. And again, people, you would know that if you read, it's all there. They know this, but they know that we don't know it because we're very much visual creatures from what I understand. And so we like to pass on information from one person to the next, which is tribal. If you can really locate your DNA back to your ancestry, back to what tribe you come from, you'll understand that in the African tribes and even over here in the indigenous American tribes, that's how we passed on information. It's through folktale, right? We would sit around fire, or we would sit around each other and we would talk. So I get that, but people, you have to use your brain now. We're in another century right now. We have technology. I want you guys to start using it. I'm tired of reading these crazy comments about topics that I know we should know better by now. Right.
Anything to keep us distracted from learning who we are. That's the main thing. That that media, in TV is really all about, is regulated towards that. They don't mind, putting millions of dollars into the black community, to set up churches, which aren't going to, tell you who you are. They're going to just pacify everything. Same thing is, not all churches, not all, just most of them. The same thing as also is, putting drugs in your community, keep them blind, have them drinking liquor stores. I went up to, and no disrespect to the city of Detroit. But I was up there, I think about 3 weeks or a month ago. And it's a liquor store on every corner. People say that, Danny, a lot, it's a liquor store, on every corner of the black community. No, literally, in the mainstream part of Detroit, it's a liquor store. And I never understood, like, they got liquor, it says liquor, lotto, and wine. You know, on every store, that's what it's painted on outside. Liquor.
Money grab, money grab, money grab.
Right, I guess, right. And I couldn't believe it. And it was a church right next to the liquor store, you know, and I took a survey. I was riding down Southfield Street, and I did a mental survey, and I must have drove for like maybe 5 minutes and passed 8 liquor stores.
Right.
Can't make this up. Can't make this up.
No, I know you're not.
Keep us drunk, keep us, you know, high off of reality shows. We'll never come into finding out who we are, because once we find out who we are, we're powered now. We're empowered. You know, it strengthens us. You know, and once we come back together, it kind of like dilapidates them, and it go down because now we know who we are. Now we know where our stronghold lies. You know, now we're together as a community. But to keep us apart, you know, you can't. The blow is actually, you know, he said is more in Oak.
No, he says there aren't actually many liquor stores in Oak Cliff. There never has been, but that may just be like a transport reason why, though.
Right.
Probably going across the bridge to get the alcohol is closer to downtown. So I know what he's talking about.
Oak Cliff.
We may not have the liquor, but Robert, we sure got the drugs.
Right. What is that? Oak Cliff. Where is that at?
Oak Cliff is in Dallas.
It's in Dallas. Okay. Yeah. Dallas is a nice place. That from what I've seen.
All right, let's keep moving on. No,
right. But you know, if we stay apart, you know, I mean, if I take my hand and it's spreaded, you know, and I hit you, it's not going to hurt as much. But when we're together, and if I punch you with my fist, the blow is going to be a little bit better. We're going to knock them out. Yeah. So that's what white America does. They want to keep us separated because the blow ain't really.
And I mean, the separation just does not stop. I mean, it's just so crazy. It's like when you're an observer and you're looking at this and you're reading this and you're just seeing how like varying opinions are dividing people like within seconds. It's hilarious, but it's sad at the same time. And, you know, you think about all the systematic division as well. You think about how you have public housing. No shade to public housing, because I'm not trying to mess up nobody's situation. But I'm saying, ladies, I've said this to you before on my platform, is that you are not allowed to have your man in your house. What does it feel like to you? Like, you know, like your kids. I mean, that just does not make sense. I would never want to have to rely on anybody, any unit of people or group of people to the extent where I have to separate my family. Never. If I can't do it on my own, if he can't do it with me, then we don't need to be together in the first place. But I'm not going to sign a contract to say that, oh, I'm going to take this place for X number of dollars because it's super affordable, but my man is not going to be able to lay his head here. No, I'm not doing that. And that's one good way that they separate families. Another is through the music. You know, for a long time in the late 90s or early and late 90s, early 2000s, all they were talking about, I don't need you, I don't want you, I don't want no scrubs, you know, all these things. It was like from the male and female side. I can't think of any male songs because R. Kelly was too busy trying to sex us up. But I know there's some male songs out there too that's just not resurfacing in the moment where they were talking crazy about black women, you know, being H's and B's and stuff like that. And it's like how you're dividing us by insulting us. So now when people go into the club or when they go to a coffee shop or when they're just out and about, they look this woman up and down or this man up and down and they profile them. And so now before you even get a chance to know that person, you've already had this negative preconceived notion about what they're all about before you even got to know them.
Right. You know what? You're absolutely correct. You know, and that goes back to what I just said. You know, we're better together than we are apart. And you know, I'm not saying a man that's lazy. I'm not talking about a man that doesn't want to do right by his family. I'm not saying a man, you know, that's out there just, you know, in and out of incarceration that's just no good. You know, I'm talking about a good man, a good husband. You know, that's togetherness. You know, when you leave the black woman to fend for herself and she has, you know, a couple of kids, you know, now the kids don't have that balance, you know, where, you know, they can run to mommy and they can run to daddy. You know, daddy's the disciplinarian, you know, mommy's a little bit more passive. You know, she's gonna, you know, put a Band-Aid on everything for the kid. You know, but kids no longer, they don't have that anymore. You know, you have sons now growing up in the household, you know, parents scared to discipline their kids because that balance is no longer there anymore. And I'm not saying that, you know, you have a lot of good single mothers out here that have raised their kids, you know, I mean, excellent, you know, they could have had mentors as well, mentoring them. But, you know, a son needs that dad, you know, you know, to, you know, show him that balance, you know, of what things are and manhood is, you know, because if he doesn't, your son is going to probably, 9 times out of 10, make the wrong choices in life, and today you have men, kids today, sadly, male men, that they're even questioning whether or not they like women or not, so that's something, if the man is there, the man, will tell him, like, that's just natural and that's just the way it's supposed to be. But now, the women is in the house and they're compromising, certain morality.
Oh, absolutely. Ooh, that's a topic for another day. Ooh, and I know people won't even like it, but that's too bad because we hear extra real. So thank you so much. We can go. We can go for 2 hours straight. But I definitely wanted to hone in on tonight about the topic, why Kyrie shouldn't apologize. And I think we covered it from many different angles tonight.
Oh, yeah.
The main point being, this man didn't make the documentary. Let's just put that out there.
Right.
For Nike, for the NBA team, CEO, and all the rest of them to come, and even his what do you call his NBA players that play with him, his teammates.
Right.
Teammates to come down on as hard as they did upon him. It didn't shock me, but it disappointed me because we are living in a country that is the land of the free, as they say. Right. And we also have something called the freedom of speech. This man didn't even talk. All he did was share a post.
Right.
And that's what came out of it. So if this isn't retaliation, if this isn't protest, if this isn't them calling us out for finding out who we are, I don't know what is.
They went against everything that it stands for. Every
single thing that it stands for by definition. Right. Let's take it one step further. By definition.
Right.
It's so crazy that some of you guys, you agreed with what they were saying and doing. It's the wildest thing I have ever witnessed in a very long time. So all I ask you guys to do until we get yourself together.
Hey Danny, look, this is gonna take 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
During the time of Rome, you had the Jews that lived in a particular part of Rome, Italy. They was calling it the Hellenistic period, the real Jews, and they called it the ghetto. Okay, they called where the real Jews lived at, they called it the ghetto. Okay, and when you read the definition of how the real Jews live, it tells you they had to be in before dark. And this is during the time of the 12th and 13th century. This is way before, Judaism came along.
All that stuff, yeah.
Right, and it tells you exactly how they lived. It says they lived, behind bars. The divorce rate was high. So that term ghetto actually followed the real Jews over here to America, because the last time I checked, who lives in the ghetto? Oh,
exactly right. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, reading will set you free. Oh, wait, before we go, I was trying to close out without even showing them all of the evidence that we have. Right. So I'm going to pull it. You want me to talk about the praying, or you will talk about praying Madonna. Let me remove this banner so they can see it.
Oh yeah. The popes of Rome over in Vatican City, just like the world knows, Christ and his mother Mary were Black people. Everybody around the world, honors and worships, Christ and Mary as being Black people. They know that. They know it. Not only is in that book, but it's here's another book right here. Okay, that comes out of Rome as well too, over in Vatican City.
I can see how Black they are from right here. Yeah.
Right, and this is the Transfiguration right here, when Christ turned himself into Moses and Elisha. Okay, and you can tell that those are Black people. Okay, you can see the disciples falling down to the ground.
Absolutely. And see, guys, this is the reason why they're getting mad at Kanye, Kyrie, and whoever else is at the very top, because they're the one that's dishing out the coins to them. And they're just like, if you work for us, then you need to keep your mouth closed. It's not about whether you're right or wrong. We don't want you stirring the pot. When you stir the pot, you get all kind of problems. You get dropped from Nike. You get dropped from Adidas. You get dropped from labels. You get dropped from Balenciaga. Because all these people, they themselves and their children, they know the truth.
Because once we wake up, everybody start realizing, damn, we've been tricked.
Of course.
Instead of me signing a $25 million contract, I could have signed a $200 million contract.
Yeah.
They're exploiting us. What?
Every day they're doing that in every way. Right. If you're a chemistry person, they're exploiting you. You don't have your own biochemistry pharmaceutical company, but you're working for them. They're the ones that's getting the billions of dollars. You're probably getting $150,000, $200,000. You think you really bumping, but you're not.
Right.
You're getting crumbs off of what they're receiving.
Right. You don't need to be a doctor to know that you're feeling sick. When you get up in the morning and you're not feeling well, you don't need to go to a doctor to know that you're not feeling well. But when you go to the hospital, you have people there that's supposed to be professionals that can pinpoint every, the problem. Oh, your back, what part of your back? You don't need a doctor to know that you're sick. And we in America as blacks, we're sick. And we don't need white America telling us that we're sick.
And that's the thing, guys. And when somebody is brave enough to speak up on an issue, let them in peace. If you don't want to support them, don't say anything at all because you look and sound stupid. I'm going to tell you the truth. If you're not reading, you're not doing your research, you sound crazy. You sound crazy like how you're trying to make Kanye West look. You look equally crazy to me because I know the truth. Frank Jordan is on my show showing you those people look blackity black. There is no other way to show them and show how they look. They look like you and I. People like, come on, we are that great. I think a lot of this stems from low self-esteem, low confidence, and not being able to see yourself as a higher person in this society. But that's exactly what you are. You've just been brainwashed and beaten into submission, literally. And I don't mean that physically. I mean just through everyday life. A lot of us get up, we wake up, we go to work, we come home, we do it all over again the next day. But you have to find some freedom out of your time during the week and the weekend to do your research. I had to do it too. I thank God for 2020 every single day. That literally changed the scope of my life because I was able to enrich myself in truth. All that other time, all those other years, I was living in a lie and I was living in a state of survival. Now I quit jobs like I changed clothes. I shouldn't be proud of that. But when I've had enough, I leave because I know my value. Got 3 degrees.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
However I like. And I think when you guys start seeing your own power, you'll start living your life the same way. It's stress-free. You don't worry about anything because you know that God has you, number one. Number two, you have to be able to leverage what you know. And if you're not reading, you know nothing. If you're not paying attention, you know nothing. If you're not seeing that 2 + 2 = 4, but you're just like, oh yeah, but they said, that's not it. That's not the way, and we really have to learn to agree to disagree with each other. And number one with that, we have to remember that we're family. So when you turn your back on Kyrie, Kanye, or whomever you think is out here looking ridiculous, remember that you're turning your back on your brother or your sister, right? So whatever goes on in our family stays in our family. We have to learn how to get along, and we have a long way to go.
Right. On a small, you're right. And I know you got to wrap it up. On a small level, this is how you know that we were taught to hate ourselves. If you're at work, you get up every morning in the mirror, you can be a black man, you can be a black woman, and you hate the way that you look, whether skin wise, nose wise, and, preferably skin wise, because they always say black is bad, and a white woman on your job or a white man can go away and come back with a tan and you'll say, wow, you look really great, but you hate yourself and you hate yourself so much.
You're already tanned up.
Right. You already tanned up. But why does the tan look great on him?
Right.
And not on you? That self-hate that you've been taught. That's on a small level. When you get up in the morning and I don't like the way that I look, and you're using skin bleaching cream, and that's
taking away the blessing that God in the universe has provided to you to protect your bodily organs, who you are. It's just I'm telling you, and it's because people don't read like this because they don't know. Of course, they don't know who they are. They're not reading. They didn't have anybody in their family to show them and praise them for who they are and how they look, and to just grow to love yourself so that you can love other people that look like you.
Right.
That's the reason why we're fighting each other on such minuscule issue. This is not a minuscule issue. No, this is a very serious one.
Right.
But I mean, we're talking about other things that we argue about that's just not even worth it, in my opinion.
Right. One of the slave codes, I know you got to go. One of the slave code laws that's still in effect today is back then they didn't allow slaves to congregate on the plantation.
Right.
And a slave master would come and he would break them up. You know, of course, you know, they feared retaliation. They feared slaves running off the field, and they just feared, you know, slaves actually killing them as well, too. So that law today is called a loitering law. You know, you can't congregate in public or you may get a ticket. So that came from the slave laws as well, too, you know, because, you know, sometimes they say you can't, you know, 10 or more, you can't be here unlawfully, you know, without a permit. That came from the slave code laws in the past as well, too, because they feared. And that's one of the biggest things that white America fears, okay, is us congregating and coming back as a community, okay, and finding out who the hell we are. They fear this conversation that we're having today.
Of course, they fear common sense. They fear that we will finally start putting things together the way we should. That's what, at our age, a lot of us are fully grown as watching this show tonight. We should know better. And that's the part that I'm still kind of curious about. Like, why is it that it's so hard for people to see the truth? When you see it and it smacks you in the face, you still don't want to acknowledge it. You still don't want to accept it. To me, that's beyond wild. Yeah. And we have to get to a place where we're learning and we're reading and we're understanding with comprehension enough to the point where when we see something like this, we're like, okay, I recognize what's going on here, but I stand by Kyrie. I stand by Kanye West. I don't care if he's bipolar. I don't care if Kyrie has done things or said things in the past that I don't agree with. I'm still going to stand by him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And corporate, let me say this too, in corporate America, corporate white America, you can have three black women congregate by a water cooler. You're going to have that one white woman come over by the name of Susan. So what are you guys talking about?
Right.
They fear that. They fear that. Y'all can be talking about y'all going to lunch after work. But
it's happened to me, so I know you're not kidding. Yeah.
So what are you guys talking about?
And you know what I did, right? I just kept talking like they wouldn't say anything. Because I don't like rude people. I don't like, you know, at least say, excuse me, hey, how are you guys doing? Don't do that.
Right. Like, we don't butt into their conversations. No,
because we don't care.
We can see 20 of them congregated. We don't go over and butt into their congregation, but you let 5 or 6 Negroes congregate and you see a cop come over. Yeah, what you guys over here talking about?
Right.
It's that fear in them. They fear that we're talking about retaliating. We know what's going on.
That's the furthest thing from our minds. That's the thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's the furthest thing from. I mean, who has time? First of all, we worried about or talking about how we don't want to be at work. I can guarantee you that. I'm not thinking about them. And that's the thing. You know, if they could just get off the gas and stop worrying about us, but I know that's just not going to happen. I think things would be able to calm down a bit. People could get back to normal a bit. But right now it's tense, and it needs to be tense because you know what? I'm tired of our people just going out wasting their money, wasting their energy, no real direction, not really contributing to society, always complaining. Like it goes on and on and on. That's because we're not taking control over our own lives. You know, we're letting someone else pull the strings. They're just pulling them, and we're just moving. And then if one person gets out of line, oh, they crazy. What are they doing?
Right. It's that vortex and that algorithm that America has created for us, where is that, you know, we're so used to doing certain things and going to the store and, you know, we label, you know, addicts and, you know, we have to have this and the best this and, you know, we have to have the most expensive this. Is that, like you said, when one person veer off and they say, I'm not doing this no more. Oh, they're crazy. What are you talking about? It makes no sense. You know, take them to the hospital. You know, it's an algorithm that America has created for us, you know, in a beat, you know, where we don't march to that beat any longer. They think that they'll say that you're crazy and label you as crazy.
That's so unfortunate. It's so unfair right now for those who are sacrificing. But we thank you. I'm thanking you for sacrificing the truth, Arthur Frank Jordan. I'm thanking you, Kyrie Irving. I'm thanking you, Kanye West. Because if it's not for you 3 black men that I know, how will we get the information? The information would never promulgate because nobody's reading. That's my conclusion. Nobody's reading and nobody cares. And you should care. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Guys, please make sure, I always say this, like, share, and comment. But for real, make sure you like, comment, and share this video, because so many people need to see the truth. They need to see the pictures that Arthur Frank Jordan shared tonight. I bet you didn't know. I'm talking to people that are watching. I bet you didn't know. And when you saw those black people, they are black. Those are drawn in with the dark crayon. You know, these labeled dark brown. Those were the dark brownies. Okay.
Right.
I found some pictures. I don't know if I still have them up, of the color of the Black Madonna and the baby. If I can find it really quick, I'll add it in here. But I don't know if I have.
And Danny, the crazy thing about it is that the term ghetto actually stemmed from way back during the Hellenistic period when we lived down in Rome. They were saying that the blacks over there, they live in the ghetto. This was way back in the 13 and 1400s when that term was put on us. And when you read about how we live, you'd be like, damn, this is the damn projects. That term followed us over here into America. I don't know any so-called Jewish people that live in the ghetto.
Yeah, it's seriously. And you know, it's funny. I'm looking up the Black Madonna, but a lot of them look. Oh, here we go. This is like a painting. Well, I want to find something that's more true to your point. Give me just a second. There's so many. They're all over the place.
And the Jews that were in the ghetto, they got a picture of them right here. Who does that look like?
Me. Us.
Bingo. There you go. There you go.
Looks like us. Let's see if I can bring something in here too, just so people will know how real it is. And I'm pulling up this content in real time, so give me just a second to pull that up for you guys. I mean, there's no reason for us to have to make this stuff up. You can look it up yourself. I prefer that you look it up yourself, so that way you can see. Just a moment here. That it's real out here, and them trying to hide it is also very real. So let's see if it'll load up without kicking me out of this stream. Give me a second. Here we go. There you go. Well, nose a little long on that one, but you know it's an artistic, you know, pictation of, or illustration, I should say, of.
And that's a real painting too. That's a real painting.
This one's more true to speaking to what you're saying. Give me a second here. Bam.
Oh,
see that?
Oh yeah.
Now that's a black baby if I haven't seen one.
Right.
And these images would not be out there, guys, if this is not what they're doing on the other side of the world. See, over here, I call this fantasy land because everything is white and bright. Grandma got white Jesus on the wall right now. Tell her to take it down. But I'm serious though, guys. Like, you know, you guys need to do your research because it's in the books. If you're fooled and you don't understand and you're lost, it's because you don't want to do the work.
Right.
You gotta want to do the work.
Right. Absolutely.
Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Sisters Talk podcast. This has been the realest podcast I've had all year, besides the one on Tuesday about absent fathers, which we plan on doing a part 2. So Arthur Frank Jordan, you're welcome to come back.
Hey, thank you. Anytime, Danny, and thank you so much. Thank you. Keep up the good work that you're doing. Thank you.
I'm trying. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for dedicating your time towards this platform. Guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you learned something that you didn't know before you tuned in tonight. And it says got to research your history. That's absolutely right.
Right.
We have to. If we don't, we're gonna fail ourselves and our future generations, right?
That's right.
So we're gonna end on that note. And as always, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Arthur Frank Jordan, you have any final words for the audience?
No. Hey, listen, you know, all praise to the Most High. You know, without him, nothing's possible. And, you know, as you said, you know, and as I said, you know, go back and do your research and go back and do your history. You know, it's crazy how we can call ourselves everything and we can do everything that degrades us. But as soon as we say one thing, the whole world pays attention. So it has to be some truth to it. But you have to research and you got to find out why.
Absolutely. Now, those wise words from a wise man. Y'all don't even know. This man costs money to be on this show. You know, like his time is very valuable. I don't think they know who you are. So make sure you look him up on Amazon. He has a plethora of books out there on Amazon right now. Look up Frank Z. Is it going to be under Frank Z. Jordan, correct?
Yeah, Frank Zaquan Jordan.
There we go. Here we go. There's one of them right there.
Yep.
I'm telling you guys, you want to get ahead of the game, you want to read his books. Thank you guys for tuning into the Sisters Talk podcast. Until we meet again, you guys have a blessed and safe week and weekend.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.